Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are taking a deeper dive into our thoughts about The Wives of Married at First Sight, Season 18.
If you haven't checked out our deep dive on the men, we did the men on Saturday. Check out that video. We're going to release this video Monday morning, first thing Monday morning. And I'm going to try to be less than an hour, for sure. I'm definitely going to be less than an hour. So let's get started. Mm-hmm. We both can agree, Blair, that this cast of women is better than last season cast of women.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even with Michelle and Madison, by far, still better than last.
By far.
By last season. Overall, what is your thoughts on the women that was casted and just how things have turned out so far in Married at First Sight on the women's side of the spectrum?
I think that some of the women were ready for marriage, and I think some of the women were not.
Okay.
I think that when you, of course, throw in being married to a stranger, that definitely throws a monkey wrench into what you believe you're ready for as far as the contestants. But I feel like there were certain traits that were missing, or characteristics of a wife, I would think, that were missing in some of the women that would make it difficult for them to be in any type of long-term relationship. So that's kind of my summary.
Well, Blake,
I'm going to deep dive into these ladies about.
Well, put it like this. Those characteristics, you're going to have to teach me. You get what I'm saying? So who are we going to start with, Blair?
So I'm doing a ranking.
Okay.
So I'm going from best to worst.
Okay.
And I will have to put my number one as MM.
MM. Okay, let's talk about MM. What is your thoughts?
And the reason I put MM is because I think that she really came into this process open, ready, and willing for her husband.
Okay.
No matter his job, no matter what he looked like, or his status. I think that she was willing to accept the person who came to her and really to make the best out of the situation. I think that she was in a space being ready to communicate and to try to be selfless and to hear and understand where her partner's coming from. It's a shame that she got paired with a fool. But I think that she really exercised her patience and her willingness to listen, even though it was kind of for naught with this person. But I felt like she showed that she is ready for marriage with the right person.
I think so too. To agree with everything that you said. I actually find it kind of sad in some factors, hearing some people say that, for starters, let me restart, this is a show, right? So I think one of MM's greatest qualities that we've seen on the show is that she's willing to forgive, wipe the slate clean, and restart, right? As we seen in the last episode, Keshi can't do that, but MM, after everything that she's been through, I think the greatest quality that we can say is that she's willing to forgive. And it's kind of sad in some factors that we are kind of using that as almost like a flaw, almost like if that was me, I'll walk away from Ikechi. And truth be told, she should walk away from Ikechi, but I want her to compartmentalize Ikechi and still have that trait of being able to come and meet with someone and forgive and willing to start over, because you don't know, in a relationship, especially in a marriage, you may need forgiveness too.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So the fact that she's willing to turn the other cheek with Ikechi, I want her to still continue to have that trait, but still Ikechi is like you said, she can't really do nothing with this. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to learn nothing from this. And some people feel like in some ways or some factors that, like, you know, that MM, in a way, she idolized like marriage. Do like you feel that way?
I don't know. The way that it looked like that might be the case. Yeah. And the only reason I say that is because you're willing to get on this show, which is kind of like a last ditch kind of effort. And I feel like she's young enough to where that doesn't necessarily have to be the case for her, but I know she said she works a lot, so she probably doesn't get out much to meet people. Yeah. So that can be a barrier. But I also think the other thing what did you ask me?
Does she idolize marriage? Does she idolize marriage?
Oh, yeah. And then the other thing is that it seems like she doesn't know when to leave. And I'm hoping that she doesn't. I think that it's easy to, especially in this society as women and young girls, like you're taught to want to get married and, you know, have a family and kids and all these things, which are beautiful. But to tie yourself to somebody who's going to be an anchor to you is not worth your time. Yeah. So that's the only thing that makes me think that I hope she doesn't idolize marriage because you're willing to hitch yourself to this guy who's going to drag you down. So
I would say if if I had to lean, I'm leaning more towards like, using marriage as something to check off your list.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I don't want to use her excitement against her with the my man, my husband, because I think there is something beautiful about being married and actually like being in a relationship with someone for a lifetime. But this is not a traditional marriage. So for someone to be so brought in to this unique experience, it did kind of set me off like, whoa, you are really accepting basically whoever they would have brought to you. But I don't want to hold that against her, while at the same time, if I had to answer the question, if you had to just put me on the spot, does she idolize marriage in some way, I would lean more yes than no. Maybe this experience in itself will help her, like, you know what? It's better off because I actually was married to a fool. And now that I actually been married to a fool, I've never been in a relationship with someone like this. It is good to be by myself. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather be by myself than be attached to like this guy. And that's why I'm like with I would say, even though there's 5 women that came on this show, I would say for me as well is one of the ones that showed up as a wife in my eyes. Even though there are some things that we all can say needs to work on. A lot of people feel like takes control a lot. And me personally, I feel like everything that is doing is reactionary. I feel like she's taking control because Ikechi is not doing anything. And there's a difference between taking control when someone's not doing enough, then I can criticize you and say, accept what they're doing. But now we to the point to where, hey, just accept Ikechi, accept what he's saying because he's going to wild out. No, he's a grown man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pity this grown man because we should just accept his answer and like don't really express how you feel, because he's gonna wild out. Then he needs to remove himself. You get what I'm saying?
The only reason I say that she shouldn't express how she feels to him is because it's on deaf ears.
Yeah, that's true.
At this point in the situation, you've tried talking to him, you've tried bringing the experts in. She's done everything that she could, but to continue to try to have these conversations with him, which I'm not necessarily even going to put it all on her because I think production plays a huge part in getting these people together for these useless conversations. But to continue to really like bare your soul and to be open with somebody who is hell bent on hurting you. At some point, like, you got to protect yourself. Yeah.
And I hope, in like conclusion for my part, I hope that this experiment did not change her. For the negative. I hope that forgiving spirit that we see, that keep trying spirit that we see, even though some of us may criticize it, like, why you keep trying with this guy? That's the best part of you, and don't let someone take out the best part of you because you know how to forgive and know how to move on and things like that. You're just forgiving a fool. You get what I'm saying? Who is the next?
So number 2, I would put Camille.
Oh, Camille. Is she wifey material?
Well, I don't. I hate to put it like that, even though that's how my sign says it, because I'm not the judge and jury on that for real. I feel like
for this video you are.
I feel like for people in their relationship, some people like different things in different women, and it's certain things that they can deal with that I might think, I don't know why you would want to marry somebody who was this type of way. But just to kind of like give my perspective for Camille, the things that I like about her that made me think that she was ready for marriage is that I feel like she came in willing to be vulnerable, especially with that being something that was hard for her. And I think that when you're taking kind of like that step in your life to really have this lifelong bond with somebody, you kind of have to put your reservations and some of those things on the back burner, so that way you can really see if this relationship can grow into something healthy. So I think that I felt like he did a good job in leading in the vulnerability and making her feel comfortable enough to open up. And I feel like I wouldn't say that she's gotten super, super deep, but I feel like she's allowed us into just her history, her family, her grandmother. Like, I feel like we're just kind of getting to know Camille on a different level.
Finally, dude, you get what I'm saying? Like Camille has been telling us how Camille was showing us what she liked in the past so much that it was kind of hard for us to see who she was in the present and basically like where she is in the present.
Right.
I would ask this question to you, Blair, because you used the word vulnerable, right? So I'm gonna go with what Thomas said. Thomas said in one of the last videos or the last episode was that he wished that she was more vulnerable, that he would see her to be more vulnerable, because in that way he would see a softer side of her. Mm-hmm. Do you think she may be too hard for Thomas?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, when she was talking about, her upbringing and how she was kind of parentified in the way she was brought up, and she allowed herself to cry, and that showed that she felt comfortable and safe enough around Thomas. But I don't think that everyone needs to have that same type of vulnerability. Like she says, she can be vulnerable, but she may not be the type to cry or to express herself in that way. I think that the more comfortable she gets with Thomas, the more she'll open up. But I think that they have a good just vibe right now. They just seem to be on the same playing field, and they seem to, that chemistry is really growing between them. So.
Yeah, I would say yes. I think she may still be a little too hard. I think for her, it may be a little bit. I think, honestly, to be honest, I think they should continue therapy even after their decision, if they both say yes to each other.
True.
I think they should continue therapy, because even though she had her little few episodes of basically saying, Thomas, you ain't black enough, and I'm gonna put you through these black boot camp. I think that is an internal thing that I don't want it to rear its head back up later on once the cameras is gone, and now you could really tell me how you feel. And two, she says something in the sense of like, I only cry like maybe once a year or something like that. And I'm just like, yes, you may use cry, but I want to know, are you vulnerable enough? You cannot cry, but are you vulnerable? And not only in the presence of a therapist, not only in the presence of someone who is a teacher or a mentor. Like, you will have to trust me now, right? And in order to trust me, you will have to accept all of me. And that's my only thing with Camille. Do you accept all of Thomas?
The only thing that I have as pushback, and I hate to compare the ladies necessarily, but why I would put Camille in the second position is because she may have those walls up to her vulnerability. Yeah. She is willing to stretch herself beyond her walls. Okay. And I think that some of the women on this show are not even attempting to do that,
not even close,
or not even acknowledging that they have those walls that they need to kind of get a hurdle over. So the fact that she's aware of it and is like trying and actively making those efforts, I think that's a really good sign to somebody who's like ready and willing for this type of relationship, because you do have to push yourself beyond your comfort zone in order to meet your partner where you're at. And then the other thing about Camille that I liked is that I was annoyed with the whole black boot camp situation.
Yeah.
But after conversations, it seems like she was able to get past it. And she is really taking the time, like when she went to Thomas's mother's house and to learn about his backstory and his history. And I feel like she is handling that with care. Yeah. And I think that that's important, because you can look at Thomas and, some women look at men and think that, oh, you're a man, you're supposed to handle everything, you're supposed to be fine, you're supposed to be strong. But I think that she allows herself to be a safe space for him to come with all of the things that he's been through in life. So
I agree. The only reason why I keep having these flashbacks of Camille, remember, Camille was about to be a runaway bride number 2.
Well, I don't fault her for that. I think those are nerves.
You signed up for the show.
But she pushed beyond it.
Yes, producer had to talk her, like her people had to talk her into it. Like, you get what I'm saying? And my thing is, outside of people having to talk you into things, outside of producers having to talk you into things, outside of the therapist having to talk to you, that's why I say I think they should continue therapy if they say yes to each other. Yeah. Outside of your sister talking to you and things like that, your little sister at that, right? Of you trying to show and trying too hard, in my opinion, to prove your blackness. I wonder, when y'all are left to your own devices, when you are by yourself, when the training wheels are off, do you fully accept Thomas? Are you willing to be vulnerable with him to where he don't describe you as hard? This is his description, right? And in that way, in order to show that vulnerability, you have to trust and accept all of them. And I'm still in the middle with that. But at the end of the day, I think she's going to say yes. I think he's going to say yes. It will blow my mind if she said no. Yeah. Like it will blow. It would be one of those moments where if she says no, I'll be surprised initially, but then I'll be like, you know what, Camille, I should have believed what I saw. You get what I'm saying? But we'll see. I think Camille, once she get out of her own way, and she's still like in that early 30s, and now you're transitioning to an age to where, okay, Camille, you should learn how to get out of your own way. I think once Camille get out her own way, she could be good. You get what I'm saying? She could be good, but I'm looking at the history about how her father was kind of telling her, hey, when it comes to like even competition, you need that dog in you. You know what I mean? Like, you have so much potential to be better than what you are. And when I see Camille, I'm like, Camille, you have so much potential to be better than what you are. Not saying that you're bad, but you have potential to be better than you are.
Yeah. Okay. Third, I will put Carla.
Funny, because I would have swapped Carla and Camille if I was doing rankings.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll explain. Carla, the only reason I rank her beneath Camille is because I think that just her particular mindset.
Okay, help me.
And for me, I think that when it comes to a marriage and a partnership, you're actually looking for a partner. Yeah. Someone who is coming with an ability to help in some capacity, who provides stability in some capacity. Those are just the things that I look for in a partner, and those are the things that I try to prioritize being as a partner.
Nice.
So when it comes to Carla and her just her living situation, when we're going to see her place that she lives and we see the storage unit, I can understand like technically the fact of, well, you know, I'm moving in here, so I didn't rent an apartment, but I can rent an apartment if this thing doesn't work out or whatever the case may be. But to me, that strikes me as a little bit of instability, because this process could have lasted a week, a day, or a month. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it would have just been nice to know that if things were to go bad, that you can go right back into your life instead of kind of having this moment of transition of where am I going to live? Who am I going to stay with? And all that type of stuff. And those are the things that I kind of look at to say, I don't know if you're like kind of thinking things through. And as a partner, that worries me because it's nice for your partner to have a little bit of foresight, so that way when you do communicate things, you guys are trying to cover all bases when reaching a goal or trying to figure out a situation. And for her to kind of not have that mindset, at least the way that it appears on the show, it's a little bit concerning. So when she talked about leaving her job or quitting her job, but still not having all the pieces together of how she was going to make money, but she was going to go to her clients' homes, it's like, that's a good start. But do you have enough to make rent? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, I hear what Carla's saying, and I also agree that in life, you don't know the end of every beginning. Like some things you kind of have to take a step to see the next step. So that's where I put her in the middle, because I see her thought process and I think that is valid, but as a partner, in my eyes, I just would like to see a little bit more stability and forethought. So, but I will say what I did like about Carla and the way that she came into this marriage is I did also feel like she was willing to accept the person that she was with. She went to therapy and she did the work to find out the things that were she needed to get over and the things that she needed to ask for when it came to her next relationship, so she could communicate that. I do think people have slip ups at the resort when she, you know, was being petty and, you know, messing, you know, put his clothes or whatever the case may be and locking him out the room. Yes, Carla, she knew that wasn't the best course of action, but I think that she is trying to rectify it in other ways by showing that she is going to be here for Juan and is willing to listen to him and care about the things he cares about.
I wonder if she's really, to your point, over what she says she has a habit of doing, meaning like basically like conforming into whoever she's with, right? Which leads to your stability analysis, because I was like, if you really changed or if you really saw the error of your ways in previous relationships, I wouldn't have my stuff in the storage unit. Because my thing is, hey, y'all only got this apartment for 20 days or less. Where you gonna go after this? This leads me to think you gonna say yes. You know what I'm saying? But Carla kind of reminds me, I really don't know what came first with Carla, the chicken or the egg, and I mean it in this way, right? Okay, she's not organized. And here's the thing about it. I'm not trying to judge her off perfection. A lot of us are not organized, right? Carla kind of reminds me of, like, have you ever had that friend or just a person, right? in this example to where you're like, man, this guy or this person is a bum. This person is unreliable. And they have not proven to you and on their own that they can be organized, that they can be reliable, that they can handle responsibility, right? So in order to expedite the lesson, you kind of make them a leader. So they can like, hey, I'm going to make you a leader, even though you do not deserve this position, even though you haven't proven yourself that you can do this position, but I need to make you a leader of something because that's the only way that I can tether you to responsibility.
Okay.
And I don't know if Juan have given her enough that she could tether herself to besides criticizing what she's not. You get what I'm saying?
I see that.
Like besides saying you wake up at 1:00 in the afternoon, give her something to do. Give her something to lead. Give her something that she can fail in. You get what I'm saying? So she can actually feel the weight of it. That's why I think many times now she have this free spirit, because at the end of the day, when she's renting the booth, that's not her company. That's just her chair. You get what I'm saying? Many times than not, that's why she's like, money is just energy. I do think there is something that is aloof with Carla. But my thing is, I think in a wife or husband situation, when you have a wife, when you get married, this is not a situation to where I'm the boss and this is my employee, right? We are now bosses, right? And at the end of the day, my job as a boss is to, I don't know how to do this, other boss. Can you show me? Other boss, I don't know how to do this. It's like,
real collaboration.
I haven't seen enough collaboration. Okay, Carla is not these things, but I haven't seen enough to where you have given Carla enough responsibility. Now, Carla may not be the one to take initiative, and that could be a flaw in itself. But my thing is, when it comes to marriage, I already feel like Juan is not showing up as a husband. So I wonder, do I give that same flack for Carla? Do I give her that flack?
Well, if I can push back on
it
just a little bit, I think that when it comes to David, we expect him to come in showing stability without somebody giving him responsibility.
That is true.
So I'm, and I think that when it comes to Carla coming into a situation as serious, as a marriage and tying your life to someone, why does he need to give her responsibility for her to show up responsible?
Because I don't know if she is as irresponsible as they are trying to portray her as to me. Okay. And maybe I'm just not believing what I'm seeing with my eyes.
But maybe it's a difference between a men and women.
Yeah.
Maybe you give her a little bit of grace because you feel like as a woman,
for sure,
as a man, you can kind of lead her in that.
For sure, because there's something different. It hits different when a man lives in his mama basement compared to a woman who still lives at home with her parents. You get what I'm saying? So I'm definitely doing that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, not probably. I am doing that.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit more grace with Carla. But my thing is that I just want to push back before I move on, is that, even though I'm not organized and things like that, I don't know if Carla's teachable because no one has taken the time to teach Carla anything, So my thing is, I'm not asking Blair, I'm not asking Carla or whoever my wife is to be the same as me, right? What are you good at, right? How can I allocate you to a task that I may not be as well in? And maybe Carla's thing is, I just live life and like wherever the wind blows me, I go. And if that's her thing, I have to honestly say as a wife, that's a no for me, right? Because like we have to be stable because at the end of the day, if children is a goal, we go be responsible for other people's lives, and we have to practice not just blowing wherever the wind blow me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'm over 200 pounds. You just can't blow me wherever I need to go. And I feel like maybe Carla have too much of a free spirit. I understand that she's done the work and she basically done like, I'm not going to build up a wall and I'm not going to conform. But at the same time, maybe I am doing a little unfair to where it's like, Carla, you do kind of come off you kind of come off unstable, but you make it look prettier because you're just like, it's just energy. And I'm just like, I don't want to marry energy. I want to marry some things that are solid.
And I will say for some people that may be fine. Maybe they want to be the leader in a relationship and they like the fact that nobody wants to combat them on being the leader. Yeah. But just as, just our opinions.
Yeah.
And then in fourth place, honestly, which might sound crazy, I'm going to put Michelle.
Of course. Of course.
And the only reason I'm going to put Michelle is because, number one, she's almost, dead last.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's just mean and nasty, and very judgmental.
You're just the second loser. Okay? Basically, there is no winners in this position and like the next position. You're just the second loser.
Yeah. She's mean and nasty, very judgmental. But what I will say is the girl's going to be honest, and you're going to know where you stand.
Yeah.
And I hate the brutal honesty that she gives, but there's no confusion when you're dealing with Michelle.
Facts.
I would take not dealing with confusion over somebody who is purposely vague.
I'm kind of, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I don't have much more to say other than the fact of she's number 4 because she's horrible.
Yeah.
But she's not number 5 because she'll tell you how she feels about you.
Well, here's the thing, right? I'm going to steal your question. Is she wifey material? No. Right? Because, Michelle, let's remove David from the equation. The perfect guy is not going to always show up. There's going to be something that's going to be lacking in a person that you have to give grace, that you have to show patience for, right? And you have not shown at least the decency to be nice.
No.
Right?
Or patient.
So I'm looking at your qualities. You can say no to David and still treat him like a decent person. You can say no to David, and even though you are his wife, you can take him out to get him a nice shirt that can prepare him for somebody else and say, hey, I feel like you really show up as this type of person. It's not really my type of person, but I'm just telling you how you come off.
Right.
And I'm going to take you to this store, and I'm going to buy you this jean jacket. Hopefully it's not a jean jacket, but like, you get what I'm saying. If I have criticisms towards something, I am going to, for one, put myself on the forefront to try to address it and change it myself.
Yeah.
She haven't done that. At the honeymoon, right? Her friends is telling her on the phone, can you at least enjoy where you at?
Yeah.
Like the chances of you, like what are you doing? So she haven't even shown the decency to respect David as a person. She judged him based off of his resume. And I'm just like, okay, what if this person that you are going to be with next, because we know she's going to say no to David, right? This person he have the money. He have the status to where the optics is 100% the way you want it. But at the same time, like, he got some other things that's just not right, right? What if his family don't like you?
Yeah.
What if, like, it's so many things that goes on in a marriage that when you say yes to Married at First Sight, we look at that matchmaking episode and we listen to your vows. And I'm going off of what you said, Michelle, not what I seen, what you said, and you lied.
Yeah. And then my only question for her too is, like, I see that you have resilience in being able to get out of your small town, come to Chicago, make something of yourself. But when it comes to resilience in a relationship, I don't see it at all. There is no effort. And for some reason, you're telling yourself that you are trying just because you showed up to dinner, but you insult the man on what he's wearing while you're at dinner.
Now.
So it's just it. And when she's confronted by the experts on things that she's agreed to, she's not even necessarily being honest when talking to the experts.
No.
She'll tell David how she feels, but when it comes to the experts about what she will and she won't accept, the line is always moving. So, yeah.
No, I and listen here, this is just bail, not to get it out of jail, but this is just a little bail based off of someone who commented on the men's video, which was a perfect comment down to a T. It seemed like every season there's a certain type of husband that comes on the show. You always got the basement dweller. You always got the guy that's very hypersexual. You always have the guy that's very disrespectful towards, the dark skin. It's like almost like templates of people that they get for like seasons of the show. And I understand that David filled in the shoes of the basement dweller, of the guy that doesn't have it all together. And women do not throw tomatoes at me. I don't like tomatoes, right? I'm not saying be in the business of build a man. I'm not saying that, right? But my thing is, you did not even try, to Blair's point, to be resilient, right? To see if you could find something good about David. Anything. And then to invest in that. And then you may have to build a man. I'm not saying it has to be David. I'm just using him as a muse because that's your husband on the show.
But certain qualities that their partner doesn't have.
Guess what? One thing you should not invest in, and this going to sound kind of crazy, but one thing you should not invest in when it comes to if I want to be with you or not is money. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? You can lose that job.
Yeah.
I can lose my job. Mm-hmm. And then guess what? The roles will flip.
People get sick. All these different life events happen. But the main qualities for me is resilience.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
And
patience.
And patience.
Yeah.
And an effort for stability. If you're not even trying to be stable, then what are we doing?
He's working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So I gotta give him respect on that.
Yeah.
He's doing 2 jobs. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you are where you are, if you know who you know based on the high status that you are, the high job that you have, do you have any connects that can give your husband a job, that can give someone that you're interested in a job? Because clothes you easily fix. It took you to episode 98 to do it. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
But we can see he's a hard worker.
Exactly, or something. He also may be a liar, but look, we ain't talking about the men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that outside of David, I'm not saying David made you show us these qualities. You have these qualities in you that I believe you need to work on, because even in your welcome video in the first episode, you said, I'm independent. I don't need a man.
Yeah.
I'm like, no man wants a wife like that then. A man wants to feel needed, at least within the marriage of something, you know? Yeah. So I would say, Michelle, no, you have shown yourself based off the characteristics that I've seen on the show not to be wifey material, and not only because of David, because of you.
And then in 5th place, I would have to put Madison.
Yes.
I put Madison there because she's not present.
She's there, but she's not there, right?
No, like she's here, but she's actually down to the bar.
Yeah.
She's out with her friends.
Oh yeah.
Alan have to be in hot tub places by himself. Like, where is Madison? Yeah. So a not present spouse is a pretty not great spouse in my opinion.
Not at all.
And then when you are around and you guys are having conversation and Alan wants to try to, figure out where you stand with him, exactly how do you feel, she doesn't want to talk about it. Yeah. She doesn't want to give him the decency of, hey, this is how I feel. These are my hangups. This is what will help me get past these hangups, because I think it's been decided in her mind that it's a no.
Yeah.
I will say that when they were talking about their growing up and her playing softball, and she was saying, I do feel closer to you, but that romantic switch just isn't on. Thanks for finally telling him by week 6,
The show was over now.
I'm just like, I just feel like in Madison's efforts to be nice, there is a element of stringing him along.
Yeah.
And I think that if Alan, I will put some onus on Alan, would speak up a little bit, would have spoke up a little bit in some of those initial issues and arguments, would Madison have actually been more direct in her responses? We would never know.
Yeah.
But as far as Madison and her readiness, I just don't think her focus is on the marriage. Her focus is everywhere but her partner.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you can invest in a couple, let alone a lifelong commitment, if you're not paying attention to what's happening in your household.
Yeah.
So.
The thing I don't understand is, like, forget all that. Like, you can take everything you said, Blair, and just simplify it as, you signed up for Married at First Sight. Who did you thought you was gonna get? Like, you have given up the choice of optics of what you're used to. Of, I'm into pretty boys. Well, if you was into pretty boys, the pretty boy's not into you, or else you be with a pretty boy. Instead, you leaned on Dr. Pepper to find you your partner. You leaned on Dr. Pierre to find you your partner, and Pastor Kyle. So everything Blair said is 100% right, and that is the worst type of spouse to have. Someone who is blue balling you throughout the whole relationship, who is there in physical form, but and sometimes they're not. Right. But she's blue balling him and keep telling him, if you just compliment me more, if you do this, if you do that, oh yeah, by the way, while you're doing that, don't do that Shakespeare stuff. By the way, change your wardrobe. By the way, ill. You know what I'm saying? Just basically, like, you're basically giving me backhanded slaps and not even enough compliments for myself. How can you the thing about it is the reason why Alan was in that therapy session talking to Dr. Pepper about like, does she like anything about me? And she's like, well, I complimented your shirt yesterday about how nice you look. That's not enough.
Yeah.
Like one compliment outside of 82 episodes of you basically telling him how much you don't like him and how much he needs to change is not going to suffice. Mm-hmm. So I think Madison is actually, to your point, the least ready to be a wife because she have not been present.
Yeah.
And then she's doing a lot of magic tricks in our face. She's making it look like, you know what? I'm starting to open up to you. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And she's just going to drag that along until the last day. And then she going to say something like, if we just had more time, then maybe, you know, if we got a chance to know each other, we would have been there. But no, like this is actually, you're actually weaponizing your niceness of trying not to be mean or trying not to be like Michelle and things of that nature. While at the same time, people believe that you over here texting David.
Yeah.
Over here messing with David behind Alan's back. Like Alan over here crashing out. We know he ain't crashing out on his own. I hope he's not crashing out on his own. Mm-hmm. So it's like I think you know how to show up on TV and on the camera, but really behind the scenes, Alan told us when y'all go out, you don't be next to him. You don't even come to the house sometimes. Like you have shown yourself to not be a present wife, partner, whatever in married first sight experience.
Yeah. And that's all I got.
That's all. So let's go through it. I hope you say no. Mm-hmm. Okay? We believe Camille's going to say yes.
Yep.
I believe Carla might say yes.
I think she'll say no.
I hope she say no, but she might say yes because she might need a place to live. Either way, her yes don't mean that Juan's going to say yes. I think Juan's going to say no. Mm-hmm. Who's next? Michelle's definitely going to say no. Mm-hmm. She going to say hell no for all we know. And Madison, she's going to say no. And she's
going to say no to Alan, yes to David.
Oh, do you think she's going to say yes to David?
Not for marriage, but for a fun time.
For a fun time. Anything else?
That's all I got.
How did I do, partner?
You did great.
36 minutes.
Wonderful.
Listen, this video will come out Monday. Make sure y'all check it out. If y'all didn't, check out the men's side. And we see y'all later on this week with Married First Sight.
Bye.